So let's bring you in on the conversation. So what do you think about the both parties maneuvering to fix the elections? What do you think about the popular vote versus the Electoral College?
Oh, it's a problem with the idea of a democracy. You know, the values and rights of the minority are not protected in this example. The reason why it was set up this way, and remember, the states came together to reach an agreement as to why they would become a government, and that had to do with protecting each individual state. Right. So what are you going to do? You're going to have like a big city dictating to a state like Montana, you know, or overriding them because of population. Montana, in that case, would have probably said, I don't want to become part of your union. You're just going to basically tell us what to do, as opposed to us having a equal say in that. But this is where the whole democracy argument, you know, falls on its face, because, you know, unless you're protecting the minority interests that are out there, then the democracy is nothing more than a mob rule. And, you know, obviously in mobs, a mob is ruled by the lowest common denominator, and that's part of the reason why we end up with such a dysfunctional system that we have right now, because everything is brought down to such a primitive level. You know, the thing that always has been is New York New York City, or is it upstate New York? Is New York New York City, or is it Long Island? And the funny thing is, the state of New York is almost completely driven by everything that happens within the city, whereas the other areas outside of, let's say, 40 miles from downtown Manhattan are completely different states. And that's where you have these people waking up in the middle of the night, and the legislature, which is pretty much stacked with people in New York City, tell people in upstate New York about what their gun rights are going to be.
Well, for our listeners, just in case, you know, maybe we've lost a few along the way, because I got lost talking here a few minutes ago, but with the Electoral College, each state gets so many votes, and that's based on their representation in Congress. So if you have two congressional districts, you get 2 votes, plus you get the 2 Senate votes. Therefore, you get 4 congressional votes. And that's how that's all made up. What I was trying to get to, like in Nebraska, they split those votes. So if a Democrat wins one congressional district and a Republican wins another congressional district, and the Republican wins the popular vote, they would get that one congressional district plus the 2 senatorial votes, so they would get 3, and the other one would go to the Democrat. Now,
the interesting thing will be, why don't you start with a state like California?
That would, you see, though, that's where now on the flip side of this, going from the popular vote, this is where the Democrats would really lose. They probably would never win another election if the states went to not a winner take all, because the fact of the matter is that's why right now the Republicans control Congress. Therefore, they would control the electoral votes. Because just from that alone, not only would they have the electoral votes from Congress, then they would have whatever states they would have won. They would have gotten those additional states from, you know, the 2 senatorial votes.